A newly released police report has just confirmed what many of us already suspected, and what the media has spent weeks trying to distort. The riots that erupted in Southport following the horrific murders of 3 young girls by Axel Rudakubana were not, as some tried to claim, the work of so-called far-right agitators. They were not political stunts. They were not orchestrated by extremists. They were a spontaneous, raw response by local residents, ordinary people, outraged and devastated by a barbaric act that shattered their community. For weeks, politicians and legacy media talking heads scrambled to reframe the story, using loaded terms like far-right uprising to discredit the public's anger. But today, the truth is on the record. Those protests were local, grassroots, and deeply emotional. People weren't radicalized and they were grieving. They were furious. They were demanding justice in a country that increasingly seems more concerned with protecting political optics than protecting its own citizens. Let's not forget what sparked this unrest. 3 innocent girls murdered in cold blood. The man responsible, Axel Rudakubana, should never have been in the country. His background, his violent history, and his presence in a UK community were the result of a broken immigration system and a cowardly political class unwilling to admit its failure. And while the community demanded answers, demanded justice, what was Keir Starmer doing? Jailing thousands of British citizens, not for violent crime, not for threats to national security, but for posts on social media. For wrongthink, for voicing concerns. Starmer's government, under the guise of hate speech laws and online harms regulations, has criminalized dissent. It has made it a punishable offense to be angry, to call out what's happening in our streets, to speak up for victims like those 3 little girls in Southport. Thousands have felt the sharp end of this crackdown, targeted not for what they did, but for what they said. And now, tragically, Peter Lynch is dead. A man who dared to speak out. A man who reportedly took his own life after being prosecuted under these authoritarian laws. Because of Keir Starmer, have a watch of this.
Published report today by the Police Inspectorate. It found, and I quote, "No conclusive evidence that the summer riots that were triggered by the Southport murders were coordinated by extremist groups." So, not far-right thugs then. And that most of the protesters were local, so it wasn't a coordinated cross-country effort, were local and I'm quoting again, "the violence was mainly unrelated to their ideology or political views." So not far-right thugs then. And it goes on to say, what were the reasons for these protests? So it does say they were protests. Keir Starmer, they're not protests. Were they then? Just a sort of spontaneous eruption of violence for no reason whatsoever. They were protesting against the migrant crisis, Keir. Anyway, as confirmed by this report, so His Majesty...
There's no getting around it. Starmer's obsession with policing speech instead of protecting lives has real consequences. 3 murdered girls, a community smeared for demanding justice, a man driven to his death. The country is not just broken, it is being deliberately dismantled. And until the political class faces real accountability, this will only continue. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.